Did you hear the announcement? 30 terabytes on a single hard drive. Seagate just dropped the monster that you've been dreaming of, promising to solve all your storage problems forever. That little data hoarder voice inside your head is screaming right now. Your NAS is practically begging for it. The thought of archiving every project, every photo, and every single 4K movie that you've owned and still having room to spare is just intoxicating. It feels like the ultimate upgrade. But before you get anywhere near that buy button, you need to stop and you need to listen, because behind that colossal number are some serious red flags, some scary market realities, and some outright scams that could turn this dream upgrade into the absolute nightmare of a loss of data and wasted money. Putting all your digital eggs in one massive, expensive basket has never been riskier. So today we're breaking down the 7 biggest reasons why you should wait and why jumping on this drive right now could be one of the worst tech mistakes that you'll ever make. The first and maybe the most critical reason to hit the brakes is something most people don't think about until it's way too late. The RAID rebuild. If you're buying a 30 terabyte drive, you're almost certainly putting it in a NAS or a server, probably in a RAID array, to protect your data. So let's say you're running a standard RAID 5 setup to protect against one drive failure. One day, that inevitably happens. A drive dies. You swap in a new 30 terabyte replacement, and the rebuild begins. This is where the nightmare starts. The rebuild, the array, your system has to read every single bit of data from the other drive to reconstruct what was on the failed drive. With smaller drives, this is a tense but manageable wait. With a 30 terabyte drive, we're not talking hours, we're talking days, potentially even a full week of your remaining drives spinning non-stop under maximum stress. I just recently finished doing this on a 14 terabyte drive, and it took a few days. So yeah, definitely could take some time. Now just think about that for a minute. For a solid week, your entire data library is hanging on by a thread. Your array is in a weakened state of performance and is in the gutter. Your other drives, which are the same age and have the same mileage as the one that just died, are being pushed to the absolute breaking point. The risk of a second drive failing during this incredible stressful window is terrifyingly high. And if another drive in a RAID 5 array dies before the rebuild finishes, it's game over. All of it. All 30, 60, 90 terabytes vanishes instantly. The convenience of one giant drive creates one giant point of failure at the worst possible moment. Sure, you could use RAID 6 to handle 2 failures, but that means buying even more of these expensive hard drives, which just adds to the other problems we're about to cover. All right, so let's say you're a gambler. You're willing to risk the rebuild time. You find what looks like a good deal online and you're ready to go. But are you sure that the drive is actually new? High-capacity Seagate drives, especially the popular EXOS and Iron Wolf lines, are the target of a huge and sophisticated fraud problem. And it goes way beyond just putting an old drive in a new box. Scammers are taking heavily used enterprise drives, maybe from retired crypto farms that run them for 24/7 and are expertly making them look brand new. They're wiping the drive's internal usage logs, the smart data. They're resetting the power hours to 0. They're faking serial numbers and printing counterfeit labels that look identical to the real thing. Some even fake the QR code, sending you a bogus warranty site that hides the drive's shady past. What's truly scary is how deep this goes. These fakes aren't just on sketchy eBay listings. Some have reportedly been sold by certified official Seagate resellers who were fooled themselves. The only way you might spot one is by looking for the microscopic scratches on the body or the SATA connector. Some experts use a deeper hardware log system called FARM, But now there are whispers that the most advanced scammers are learning to tamper with those logs too. You could be paying for a premium new 30 terabyte drive that secretly has 50,000 hours of hard labor on it. A ticking time bomb just waiting to fill. So some of you may ask, well, what if I get a legitimate factory fresh drive? Well, even if you get your hands on a legitimate factory fresh 30 terabyte drive, you're basically a beta tester. On paper, the specs are amazing. The Iron Wolf 30 terabyte is rated for 2.5 million hours between failures and a massive 550 terabyte per year workload. It even comes with a 5-year warranty and 3 years of data recovery service. That all sounds reassuring, but those are just manufacturer projections for a brand new product. For real-world data, we looked at companies like Backblaze, which publishes reports on the failure rates of the hundreds of thousands of drives in their data centers. Their reports consistently show that some of the most reliable battle-tested drives are often smaller, older models that have been spinning for years, with incredibly low failure rates. And as for the 30 terabyte drives, well, as of mid-2025, there's practically no large-scale, large-term public data on them. We simply don't know how these massive tin platter helium-filled drives will hold up after 3, 4, or 5 years of use. History has taught us that some drive models can be duds. In past, Backblaze reported specific 12 and 14 terabyte Seagate models that showed surprisingly high failure rates, jumping over 6 to 9% in some quarters. Are you willing to bet 30 terabytes of your most important files on a drive that hasn't proven itself in the real world yet? Let's talk about price tag. Seagate Iron Wolf Pro 30 terabyte drives launched with a street price of around $670. You might think buying one giant drive is cheaper than a bunch of smaller ones, but the cost per terabyte math just isn't on your side. For the price of a single 30 terabyte drive, you could easily buy 2 high-quality 16 or 18 terabyte drives, and maybe even 3 12 terabyte drives. Yes, you'd use more drive bays, but the approach gives you some big advantages. As we just covered, a RAID array with more smaller drives can often deliver better performance since the work is spread across multiple drives. And more importantly, it's a much safer bet. You're spreading your risk out instead of creating that single catastrophic point of failure. If you need a proper 4-bay NAS for redundancy, the cost is just staggering. Filling a NAS with 4 30 terabyte drives will set you back $2,500. That's a non-starter for most home users and a small business. Right now, the sweet spot for value and proven reliability and performance is still in those smaller, more mature capacities. The premium that you're paying for 30 terabyte drives is being on the bleeding edge. And for most people, it's a premium that just isn't worth it. Hey, if this breakdown is making you rethink your next storage upgrade, do me a favor and hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow. And make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss more tech advice that could save you a ton of time and money. All right, let's get back to it. So those 30 terabyte monsters aren't just big in capacity. They're big, loud, and hungry. Seagate packed 10 spinning platters inside that standard 3.5-inch case. And that density has consequences. These are enterprise-grade drives, and they sound like it. Users consistently report that high-capacity EXOS Iron Wolf Pro drives are noticeably louder than smaller drives, both when they're idle and especially when they're working hard. If your NAS lives in your home office or living room, that constant hum or chatter could drive you nuts. There's also power draw. They draw more power. While they're efficient on a per terabyte basis, the total power draw is higher per drive. This is a big deal for older or cheaper NAS boxes. Some consumer-grade power supplies just aren't built to handle the startup current for 4 or more of these drives spinning up at the same time. And then there's the software. Sure, most modern systems from Synology or QNAP will see the drive, But you can't take that for granted. If you're using older hardware, a custom-built server, or an older RAID controller, there's a real chance it won't recognize a drive this massive. You have to check that your entire setup, hardware and software, is ready for a 30 terabyte, or you'll be stuck with a very, very expensive paperweight. It's easy to forget that hard drives are mechanical marvels of insane precision. These are also fragile. And the more data that you cram into one device, the more you stand to lose from a single oops moment. A 30 terabyte drive isn't just a single point of failure for electronics. It's a single point of failure for gravity. Think about it. You accidentally drop an external hard drive, or your cat knocks your NAS off a desk. The delicate heads and platters inside get smashed. If these were on a 4 terabyte drive, it's painful. If it's a 30 terabyte drive, it's catastrophic. That could be years of your creative work, or a lifetime of family photos, or the entire digital backbone of your business. While Seagate's rescue data recovery services are included for 3 years, their impressive 95% success rate still means that there's a 1 in 20 chance your data is gone forever. And the process can take a long time. Packing this much data into one fragile mechanical box is a huge risk that most people don't appreciate until it's too late. Finally, buying a 30 terabyte hard drive right now just feels like it's at the peak of a technological cycle. Right before something better and cheaper is going to show up. Hard drive tech is still pushing forward, with things like 100 terabyte drives already in the industry roadmap. But the real competition is the solid state drive, or SSD as it's called. For years, SSDs were way too expensive for mass storage. But that price gap is closing fast. While they're still pricier per terabyte than an SSD, and are falling steadily, their benefits are massive, and they are ridiculously fast, completely silent, and use less power, and are way more durable. You can't get a 30 terabyte SSD for a reasonable price today, but giant SSDs are already being shown off for the enterprise world, which tells you where things are headed, and they're headed that way fast. For most people today, a hybrid approach is what makes the most sense. A fast SSD for your operating system and current projects, and you use a cost-effective, proven 8 terabyte, 12 terabyte drive for bulk storage and backups. By the time you actually need 30 terabytes in a single slot, the technology will be more mature, the price will be lower, and its reliability will be a known fact, not a question mark. Rushing to buy one today means you're paying the highest price for the highest risk. I always recommend staying a little bit behind the curve when it comes to technology. The newest operating system, the newest hard drive, the newest RAM, or the newest processor. It's a known fact. There's been major issues with the most up-to-date Intel processors that came out recently. Major issues with the newest video cards from NVIDIA. Major issues across the board with, new operating systems and software compatibility on many, many different devices under many different types of software. So that means the most reliable thing is to stay a little bit behind. Don't buy the very newest product, because you're a beta tester and you're only going to just be testing the product until they get it right. So I recommend just going ahead and making sure you do a little research to make sure you buy something that's maybe just a year or two old, but it's already been proven and you already know, the reliability and the compatibility of that particular device that you're buying. So where does that leave us with the 30 terabyte Seagate drive? It's an incredible piece of engineering, no question. For huge data centers with complex multi-layered backup plans and perfectly controlled environments, it might make sense. But for the rest of us, the home user, the YouTuber, the small business owner, the risk just looks too high to me. The dangerously long RAID rebuilds put all of your data in jeopardy. The rampant fraud in high-capacity markets mean that you could be buying a ticking time bomb without even knowing it. The cost is sky high compared to smaller proven drives, and its long-term reliability is a giant question mark. The pull of a 30 terabyte, that's strong. But it's a clear case of where patience is the smart move. My advice, wait. Let the tech mature. Let the prices fall, and let the real world data roll in. Stick with smaller proven drives for now. Your data and your wallet will thank you for it in the future. But I want to know what you think. Is the dream of 30 terabytes worth the risk? What's your storage setup look like? And let me know in the comments down below. This is Mr. On Demand, and I hope this video really helped you out. If it did, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more great content like this. If you didn't like it or you disagree, comment down below as well and let me know what you didn't like about the video so I can try to do better videos in the future for you. Hope you guys are all having a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Catch you later.